But we're going to get started again. So welcome everyone um, to this beautiful day, to Earth Day, to this beautiful Sunday, to the 22nd, which is a very powerful numerology number, and to this webinar, which is called Bring in the Heat. And this is an Akashic class, an activation about partnering with the Akashic Records and elemental beings of the summer to really make this the hottest year of your life. And it's been really exciting. Beautiful. I love to hear that, MK. You're packing for a big move. It's been really exciting because actually it's been over a year and almost a year and a half in development of the new way in which to really share my Akashic Records teachings. If you know me, and I'll share a little bit more about this, like all of my work, the foundation is strongly rooted in the Akashic Records. And so it's been a year and a half in the making of really sharing the teachings in this way. And actually, what I really was given the guidance of just now, I was on the beach preparing and kind of tuning in, was that the last several videos, I'm glad I sent out the email to all of you with all the videos, because the last several videos have actually been like a series of initiations energetically. And so the final video on Thursday was sort of the last initiation video to bring you through the portal to really come to this class. And it's interesting because there's all of a sudden this big movement, like in the last 24 hours, where about 100 of you registered, like in sort of the last few hours leading up. And so this has been really exciting because this is actually what we're talking about. We're talking about working with the energy of the sun and of heat and of desire and of impulse and of just like feeling it and moving with it and letting things pick up speed. And so the energy of actually what we're going to talk about today and what we want to really open up in your own life is actually being demonstrated and reflected in the way all of you registered. So moving through each portal, letting things pick up speed, and then letting this huge movement happen where we all just said yes to the desire to really ground all of these energies of sensuality, of money, of power, of our appetite, and knowing how to actually make that a deeply spiritual, deeply held experience by not just the earthly plane where we're here to be and live and thrive and grow right now, but the heavenly planes that are supporting and overseeing and guiding everything that's taking place here. So today in this webinar experience, a couple things are going to be happening. So one is that we're going to go into some teaching. So for some of you, you may not actually know too much about the Akashic Records. So we're going to go into some teaching about what the Akashic Records are, how you can work with them. I'm going to share my own story. Well, there's probably going to be some airplanes overhead. I live right by the beach and it's a busy day here. We're going to go into the Akashic Records and what they are. We're going to go into how to work with the energies of sensuality and of summer and of heat and of our appetite. We're going to go into what it is to be a soul innovator and why you most likely are one if you're on this call. We're going to look at how that all works together. We're going to go into some Akashic initiation and energetic activation so you can have a felt experience of what it is to be in the records. And hopefully you have been doing these videos with me, so you may have had some experience of that. So we're going to do another experience today working with the energies. And then most exciting of all to me, and I'm so honored to share that, as I said, like I haven't taught the Akashic Records in over a year, and it's really powerful content. And I also do it in the container of a mentorship, and I haven't been doing that in several months either. So I'm very excited to announce how I'll be sharing that this summer. And so you'll get some information on that as well, and like what the next steps would be. But really, if you're here, let's just celebrate it. Because as I said, there was sort of a portal to move through to actually land yourself on this call. So I'm thrilled you're here. I'm celebrating what that means for you and how you're going to be moving with desire and passion and your body and just being here on this planet, and how all of these energies are really just connected to saying yes to this human incarnation and to really thriving and enjoying and contributing to a really beautiful planet. And what better day to share these sort of energies. that maybe we don't always think about as actually contributing to the earth. But when we can really ground our own power and our own sensuality and our own desire and our own prosperity, we create a really high vibrational planet that is well cared for. And so beautiful to be here together on Earth Day. So we're just going to start here by taking a couple breaths. Let's just like ground and land together, taking some breaths here and breathing in some space and possibility. And even just making sure that you are in a comfortable position, that your body can really enjoy this experience right now. You may want to have, if possible, like a notebook or a pen. Like if you may want to be taking some notes, you'll also receive the recording. But let's just take a couple breaths here and just drop in. Beautiful. Exhaling out, grounding in as we begin here, grounding in and really connecting to this planet, to being here on Earth, to the energy and the resources of Gaia. Take a few more breaths here, feeling your whole body moving in that downward energy, moving up from the crown and then all the way down, grounding, grounding deeply into the earth. Take a few breaths here. Beginning to track your own body, beginning to feel your own body. And then beginning to bring some awareness to your lungs, taking some deeper breaths here, breathing in not just space and possibility, but now breathing in prosperity. Breathing in the energy of spirit, the support. Breathing in nurturing. What does that feel like in your body? The experience of nourishment and nurturing. Breathe that in. And now feel into your lower belly. You may even want to put some hands on your lower belly. And you're just going to actually breathe in the energy of truth. Let it become a frequency. Let it become a color. Breathe in the energy of truth. Holding it here, feeling how it feels in your body, making a connection to your lower belly, your womb, your sexual center. Exhaling out and sending your truth down, down deeply into the earth, grounding with the planet. Making the commitment, this portal is about working with your truth and walking with your truth. So take a couple more breaths here. And we're just going to go quiet for a couple more breaths. Letting yourself marinate in the energy of space, possibility, prosperity, truth, spirit. Just letting yourself receive all of that. As we call in all the guides and guardians and teachers. As we decide to honor this earth on this special day by really honoring ourselves and really deciding in this moment to just recognize how blessed we are. To just recognize the blessings, even the blessing of a body that's capable of feeling pleasure and prosperity and space and possibility and spirit and connection and truth. Just this body that is capable of feeling these beautiful sensations right here in this moment. Just realizing if you're at the level of consciousness where you could make it through the portal and be here with us in connection and really open up, just so you know, I mean, the download is just you will be a changed person. after this series of videos and coming into this webinar. Like, you've chosen that. You've chosen prosperity. You've chosen pleasure. You've chosen truth. You've chosen to learn how to direct really powerful energies on this planet. You've chosen to really be a high level, high impact contribution to this earth. You've chosen to be a blessing. And when you choose to be a blessing, you're choosing to be blessed. So in this moment, as you recognize that you're really here to be a blessing on earth, not just bless the earth, but actually become the blessing, which is really what happened in that final video. Like, I've been sharing the transmissions of the sensuality and the power and the blessing, and then I just actually became it. And like, that's what you're choosing. And when we work with the Akasha in this way, we choose to actually become the blessing, not just bless. Not just be blessed, but you're truly going to choose to receive to such a level, to desire to such a level, to radiate at such a level that you become the blessing. And there's no bigger truth of what the human experience is, and there's no bigger gift we could give this planet, but just to become blessings walking the earth. Just becoming blessings walking the earth, and really decide that and really begin to feel yourself connecting deeply to this earth as a blessing. The earth blesses you and you bless the earth, and that is the reciprocal experience we're choosing to have from here on out. So just take a few more moments to really just receive that new way of living and being and having. And as you've totally grounded just being a blessing, you'll begin to feel some beautiful, prosperous energy moving through your feet up into your body. Take a few breaths here. Just receive as we become a blessing on earth, as we choose to bless this earth with our true presence. And today's class also is really about the truth. That was the big, big, big message, is like, this class and this course is about passion and fire and sensuality and pleasure and money and the records. But really what that means is it's about truth. This class is about the truth. The truth of what you really are, the truth of what's really possible, the truth of what you really want. The truth of how much of a blessing you really are, how truly, truly, truly you are a blessing on this earth. And so as you take a few breaths here, receive the truth from this planet. Take some breaths here and allow yourself to receive from this planet right here and right now. Beautiful. And then coming back into the space. And you're going to see me walk off screen for a minute. I'm going to shut my windows because it's getting a little loud out there. Okay. So welcome into this space. Welcome into this class. Welcome into your truth, and welcome into your body. So I'm actually going to be sharing my screen here with you for just a moment. So bringing the heat and Akashic Records activation experience with me. And I want to actually first just show you this quote, which is a quote that I carry with me in every step of my life, has been part of my entire career in holding this sort of space with people. This is always the quote I come back to. So it's really interesting that I was given the theme of truth for this class. The truth is true and all is well. Unconquerable life prevails. The truth is true. The truth is true and all is well. Unconquerable life prevails. I want you to just sit with that just for a moment here. Because again, really, when we're working with these energies, this is about really understanding how to find our truth. And the reason I really love partnering with the Akashic Records on this is because I have found it to be a way that we can really experience our truth. And we can really experience our truth to the next level when we know how to partner with these very potent energies that we're going to talk about today, the energies of being on the earth, and really understanding how to connect to our own wealth and prosperity, to connect to our own pleasure and sensuality and power, and to connect to our own appetite so we can be filled, we can be nourished, we can be nurtured, and we can really be fueled for the mission we're here to have on this planet. So nothing but the truth can satisfy. Nothing but the truth can set us free. And we know that we're on a time at the planet where anything that's no longer true and maybe wasn't ever true is being dismantled in the earthly realm. So who rebuilds the new earth, right? Who can create with the truth? That's the calling that's happening on the planet, that we bring this deep truth. The truth is true and all is well, that we bring it to our relationships, to our workplaces, to our health, to our spirituality, to our businesses, to how we're living on this planet. Who's going to begin creating with truth? And I believe it's all of you that are on this call. So if you're on this call, you are what I would call a soul innovator. And these are some pictures of actually all the different soul board meetings, some of the soul board meetings I've done around the country for the last several years, where we work with the Akashic Records and we really bring people right into the experience of really feeling and holding their truth and working with the Akasha on that. So these are some of the soul innovators around the country that I've spent time with. So if you're drawn to this content, you are what I call a soul innovator. And the definition of innovation is what? It's to make changes in something already established. It also means to introduce something new to an environment. So a soul innovator is someone who has chosen on a soul level to make changes or add something new to an established environment around them. And that's really what's happening right now, right? Like major changes. We're in that dismantling form. We're in that dismantling phase. And now it's time for those of us who don't want to perpetuate how things have been to begin to innovate. So this means that everything in your life, the challenges, the gifts, the stuff that you're naturally drawn and magnetized towards, good or bad, the people and places and opportunities that this has attracted, all of it is in the name of introducing something new to what has already been established. So where you have been in pain, shame, or challenged is where you are here to innovate rather than perpetuate the cycle. So if you're on this webinar, if you've been following this energy, if you've moved through these portals, then you're really here and you're sensitive enough to know the truth. You're really here to set a new tone. And you're changing the game in the environment you were born into in this lifetime and in the lineages of past lives and generations where the opportunities were simply not there for the level of change that is possible on the planet right now. There's no one here on the planet right now that isn't up to something big and important, because we're at this edge of innovation and of really creating a world where we just live what's true. And one of the biggest lenses to really know what is true is through our appetite and through our connection to the energies we're going to talk about today. So, here we are. We're coming back. And I have a Q&A here, so I want to ask. Oh, okay. Thanks, Mara. Yeah, I want to bring those slides back in just a minute. So I first just wanted to come here and just take a breath here and actually just feel in with all of you, because there's a lot of energy moving here. So where have you been feeling like you're a victim, like you're challenged, especially in these areas of relationship, of intimacy, of power, of appetite? Where have you been feeling less like an innovator and more like a perpetuator? This is actually your day, your class, your experience to really move to the next level, where you're no longer in any other embodiment, but in the embodiment of choosing on a soul level, consciously and unconsciously, to really be the one who brings the truth, who brings truth to all of these charged energies we're going to talk about today. And we're just going to take a couple breaths here. Feeling where in your system you're actually ready to be an innovator. Where in your life you realize you've been sensitive enough to actually feel the truth. Taking some breaths here and letting that move down through the spine. With the next couple breaths, really feeling yourself step in, ground into the energy of being a soul innovator in whatever arena really brought you onto this call. Beautiful. And so now we'll come back to the keynote. So the two hardest spots in the lineage, and this is why I do all of my work, is really about helping all of us ground into being the innovator rather than the perpetuator, is because these are the two hardest spots in the lineage. The soul who starts the pattern and watches the challenges that befall the lineage, and the soul who ends it because they truly have not felt or seen it as possible yet. And everyone else is rolling through. So you are the one, if you're here today, you are the one who is choosing to be the soul who ends it and rebuilds it and becomes part of this new paradigm, especially around these areas where conscious, sensitive people have felt uncomfortable to tread. We're going to talk about that in a minute. So I want to thank you and I want to celebrate that. So soul innovators, this is your mission. If you're feeling connected to this idea of being the one that's always been sensitive enough to feel the truth, of being the one who's felt challenged in these areas that in truth are not actually being held and directed and expressed in our society in a way that actually serves everyone, which is why you are going to be challenged there. If you can resonate with that today, if you can feel that today, then this is your mission. To bring the truth to our planet right here and right now, and to embody pleasure, prosperity, and freedom while doing it, and end the age of the martyr. So for many of us, and this is why, and we'll talk about why the Akashic Records is so supportive in this way, but for many of us, it's scary to be the soul innovator. It's scary to be visible and to be the one who's the sensitive one, and to be the one who's always feeling the underlying energy, and to be the one who has to do it differently. Because in our epigenetics, in our nervous system, in our body, and in our Akashic records has been the energy of being a martyr. To be an innovator is to be a martyr, is to be misunderstood, is to be isolated, is to be disconnected. And so what we are all doing right now as soul innovators is, whether you're a soul innovator of money, of family, of sex, of health, of work, of whatever it looks like, family, all of us are soul innovators of being innovators. We're choosing a new way to experience being the innovator, being on the cutting edge and setting a new tone. So we're choosing at this time on the planet to no longer make that look like being isolated and being disconnected. So what this requires is saying yes to our human incarnation and saying yes to being here on Earth, which is the biggest gift you could give this planet on Earth Day today, is to actually say yes to being here, to actually say yes to being here, to actually say yes to being here. Because when we are a full, hard yes to being here and being here, the way we direct how we take care of this planet, how we take care of the environment, how we take care of our relationships with each other, with ourselves, and with the world, they begin to look like the heaven on earth we were really came here to create and connect on as innovators. So the other piece is to end the age of the martyr. So when we were in the age of the martyr, we were really disconnected from our appetite for pleasure, right? It's kind of hard to be a martyr and also have a lot of space and opportunity for really deeply connected sex or relationships, or to have the space and the opportunity to really enjoy your food and really enjoy movement and celebration and family, or to really have the money to really enjoy and choose and invest and support and play. Like, none of that is connected with, right? If you're going to be a martyr, you're not going to really have access to those things. And so there's a way in which we've taught the sensitive, innovative people in our society to sort of be a little shamed and conflicted and confused about the appetite to all of these super nourishing, powerful energies that really allow us to say yes to this body and yes to being on this planet, and therefore yes to our mission and this incarnation, right? And so that is why it's so important to begin to really love and receive and connect with these energies, because that is how we actually end the age of the martyr and make it a safe and receptive environment for all of the amazing beings that are coming onto the planet right now with so many amazing new blueprints of what it looks like to be successful, to what it looks like to share their work, of what it looks like to love each other and to heal each other and to help each other. So this is your mission, is to bring the truth to our planet. The truth is true and all is well. And to embody pleasure, prosperity, and freedom while doing it, so that we can end this age of martyrdom, become the soul innovators of being soul innovators, soul innovator squared, and to really say yes to your human body and to this earthly plane is how you're going to do it. So where do we find our truth? So as I said, you're going to really find it in your human body for start. And what that means is we're going to find our truth, the truth that, like, we can't reframe, we can't deny, we can't pretend. The truth that really brings us to our knees is in our appetite. It's in the things we have aversion to. It's in our triggers. It's in our intimacy. It's in how we've invested our time and our money and our attention. It's in our reception, how we receive, how you receive a compliment, how you receive a gift, how you receive physical intimacy, how you receive money, how you receive criticism, how you receive an intense situation, right? It's in our reception. It's in our giving. It's how we give love, attention, money, support, criticism, the truth, whatever it is that it has to be. It's in our reception of that. It's in our giving. It's in our love. It's how we love. That's where our truth is. It's in our shame. Where are we feeling shame? What is the truth underneath that shame? It's in our complaints, I would put too. What's the truth underneath the complaint? It's in what we're willing to fight for. So in general, it's in our desire. That's where we can find our truth. The truth is true and all is well. But all is well when we know what the truth is. And this is where we're going to find it. And if we're here as soul innovators to really create a whole new paradigm of living and working and loving, we have to know what is true, because that's what we're building. We're building a society and a world that's actually based on what is true. So this is why it's so important. I think you're kind of here with me now. Like, this is why it's so important. Beyond the fact that it's just a way more fun way to live, we don't know the truth if we don't know our desires. And we can't know our desires if we don't know our appetite, all of these other things here. And we can't really actually have a connection to any of that if we haven't said yes to this body and to this planet. So let's take a couple breaths here. That's just a bit of energy as well. Beautiful. So, what energies do we need to get comfortable with in that case? So these are the ones we've been talking about: sex, money, food. Those are the energies that bring us to our knees, that really let us know our truth. And they're actually not about disempowering or losing consciousness. When we don't know how to direct and work with these energies, when we've been made to feel shame about energies we all need, we're going to do it in a sneaky way. We're going to do it in an unconscious way. We're going to do it in a shameful or overly aggressive way, where we lose ourselves, we lose our consciousness, and we lose our truth. So when we know how to actually work with these energies and direct them, they are the best lens of what is true for us. When we're taught to shame, disconnect, and not know about them, we completely lose our access to our power and to the truth. And what these energies are really about are about understanding our impact. When we really are clear and can work with these energies, we understand our impact, and we understand the impact the environment and others have on us. We can understand pleasure. We can understand how to give and receive it. We can understand our vulnerability and allowing that to be a tender, beautiful, connecting thing. We can understand our honoring, how we honor others, how we honor ourselves, how we honor this world. We can understand love. We can understand nourishment. And we can understand our appetite, which lets us know where to go. It's where all of our power is. So these are the energies we want to get comfortable with. And I love working with them in this season, which we'll talk about more, because do you notice that this is a season, this summer season, where there's just a lot more of that energy running through everything. We want to spend money on vacations and on trips and on fun nights out. And there's more sensuality and more of that like summer fling energy. And where there's those foods that are sentimental that we're waiting to have that really nourish us. Like there's that deeper connection with body and with freedom and with just working with these. So it's such an exciting time to be talking about it. So why are we so weird about it? So part of it is that martyrdom thing that I talked about before, right? Like we have that energy of martyrdom. And many of us have been born into a culture or environment where we are indoctrinated into believing we can't trust our own intuition, creativity, or desire. We can't trust it. So we can't trust our appetite to food, to sex, to money, to our aversions, to the things we want, to the things we don't want, to the things we're excited by, to the things we're resistant to. And so little by little, we stop utilizing our own inner compass, our own body, our own desires, and we cease feeling empowered in the areas that constitute our four main relationships. We're going to talk about those right now. And what happens is we unconsciously mute or even totally turn off our own precious gift and birthright of our intuition, of our ability to express it, and of our appetite and our desire and our ability to express that. So just take a couple breaths here, maybe close your eyes. Where were you taught to shame or be disempowered? Or forget where you were taught, just who even cares at this point? Where do you feel a disconnect in understanding your desire around the nourishment and the resources of your own prosperity and the possibility of prosperity, of your own sensuality and the possibility of sensuality, and your own nourishment and the possibility of what would nourish you. Where have you cut yourself off from your own knowing until you've become someone who doesn't know what you want? Just take a couple breaths here, knowing that today the portal is closing on that. We're ending that experience. You will not leave here without a deeper consciousness and awakening of what you actually want. So I want you to just close your eyes here, a hand on the heart, hand on the belly, and just be with an area that needs your loving attention right now. And with the next couple breaths in, just knowing we've already called the guides and guardians of the Akasha to be here with us. And with your mind's eye, maybe even just picturing whatever sort of guardian, guide, or angel is here with you now. And just picturing some light being shined on that area that has felt muted or blocked or turned off. With the next couple breaths, just breathing in that light. Exhaling out and just allowing a little bit of a space to open here. Beginning to feel your desire even just a little bit, and your appetite even just a little bit. Taking some breaths here. Beginning to open. Bringing some of this awareness to your throat. Feeling the heart open, and as we do that, feeling the throat open, more ready to express. And as the heart opens and the throat opens, beginning to feel the crown open. Connecting with your higher self, connecting with the Akashic realm that is here to love you and support you. And just allow yourself to receive a thought, an image, an awareness right into your crown, down into your belly, of a way you could open and shine some light on your appetite and your desire around these really powerful energies that love you and want to nurture and support you and open you to your most free and impactful and beautiful life. Beautiful. Coming back into the space, and we'll just be doing little energy activations as we go here until we go into our full-on experience. So, as we talked about before, I'll just catch you up to where we've been, right? We're soul innovators. And not only are we here to innovate and introduce new and positive change to the areas where we've personally been challenged, because we were actually challenged there to be the ones to set the new tone and bring truth to those areas so that we can live a bigger, happier, healthier, real life in this new time on the planet. But we're here to really be soul innovators of being soul innovators and release that whole experience of it being a martyr experience where we're disconnected from pleasure and power, where we're disconnected or out of control or out of connection and consciousness with food, sex, and money. And so now we've come into shining some light on those areas. And the truth is this is where the current embodiment of our truth is always reflected and directed. And this is where money, sex, pleasure, love, pain, grief, impact, attraction, aversion, so this is all happening. And I always say this is just like where all of life is happening. So there's 4 main relationships you're going to want to really understand. And when you understand these as a soul innovator, you can begin to reclaim your own intuition, your own power, and begin to understand what's happening in your life, because they're always running through these 4 main relationships. So the first is the relationship to yourself. And that's connected to your own physical and emotional health. It's connected to your body. It's connected to sensation. And it's also connected to your own inner safety. It's connected to like really feeling so internally safe and internally like I'm my own best friend and I know how to be with myself and I know how to ground and go where I need to go in the world, that you actually can feel safe to open and receive. It's connected also to the relationship to community. So the relationship to community are the friends, the lovers, the partners, the colleagues, the clients, the family, the neighbors, the people we haven't yet met, the people who impacted us in the past, the people we even have previous lifetime connections with. That's our relationship to our community and where we are in that area. And when we are in a healthy, locked in, like good, good direction and reflection in the area of community, then we can trust. So when we have that with ourselves, we can be safe. When we have that with community, then we can really trust. We can trust how valuable we are. We can trust how magnetic and sensual and powerful we are. We can trust that we're here to do something really beautiful that will be really well received and really well honored on this planet. Then we go to the relationship to mission. And so the mission is just like our incarnation, why we were born as the person we were born as, why we had the challenges we had, right? This is like kind of the soul innovator mission. What our daily lifestyle looks like, what our resources are like are we well fueled to do our great work? Do we know what our great work is? Now, the vehicles, and as an entrepreneur and someone who helps many entrepreneurs build very profitable businesses, like the vehicle gets to change all the time. How you're expressing your mission is going to change through your whole life. There may be a time where you have a family and you take a break, or you change jobs, or you change directions with your work. Like, we're not talking about the mission having to be the same or look the same. We're saying, can you drop into the underlying energy that's carrying this whole incarnation? That's what we want to really understand. And when we're really dropped in and locked into that, and the Akashic Records are just an incredible, incredible tool for locking into that. When we're really clear on the destiny of the mission, then we can really feel capable of anything. We become unshakable. We become capable of a great relationship with other people, of doing the great work we're here to have, of understanding the technology, of understanding, what's next, of understanding the next big investment or the next big leap, or why we're in this dip and why we're in the down, what's the power we're here to collect in the down and rise again with, we just know how to move in the world. We become capable of life and of the human incarnation and of having fun with it. And then there's the reflection and direction relationship of spirit. And so that means different things to different people. It could mean just, the energy that's all around us, right? The God source energy, the goddess, the universe. It could mean nature. It means all of these things. To me, it's really just the intangible essence that sort of moves all, that union energy that is all. And also my favorite spiritual practice, my favorite way of really connecting in a more directed way is with the Akashic Records. But my favorite spiritual practice is just paying attention to how spirit communicates through my environment. the people, really the top, the three up there, how I'm experiencing myself and my body and my safety, how I'm experiencing the people that show up in my life or leave my life or expand my life or challenge my life, and the way my mission is called, all the different vehicles, and then just being out in the world. When you have a relationship that's locked in with spirit, you're just out in the world and it's a blast, and you just get to see how all the threads, all the beautiful stories that are unfolding, and the way every moment gives you an opportunity to see that. That to me is like a really locked in relationship to spirit. And when we're really locked into spirit, we know our worthiness at all times. We know that we are all one, everything is everything, right? And so we know like there's nothing that's worthy or unworthy. That just doesn't exist. So when we're really locked into our spirit and to the spirit of life, then we know the intrinsic value and worthiness of all things, which means, again, we're unshakable because we understand that everything has value and we understand our own value. So we learn how to stop self-sabotaging, essentially, and we begin to really let in beautiful experiences with our mission, with our community, and with ourself. And we begin to allow beautiful experiences of prosperity and pleasure and power because we know we're worth it. We know our own value. We know that all has value. So this to me is where life is happening, and this is where we can really discover and understand our truth. So I want to just take another moment here and just take that in. And if you have a journal, great, or if you want to close your eyes or just however you want to do it. But I want you to just take a second and think about how locked in you are right now, especially if you came here really feeling turned on by the idea of having a better relationship with pleasure, with money, with power, with summer and with freedom, with fun. And if you really felt that draw to understand more about the Akashic Records, like that's the energy we're working with. And we want to look at it through the lens of these 4 directive relationships where we're always going to know the truth. And when you can know your truth, again, you have your safety, you have your trust, you have your capability, you have your worthiness. That's all you need for anything. So I want you to just drop in here and think about the relationship as it currently stands. What is the truth that you want? What is the real truth you want to experience in relationship to yourself, your community, your mission, and spirit? Take a few breaths here. And I'm going to stop the screen share here for a minute and just check in with all of you, see if there's any chats. Oh, same chat. Okay. So I know I stopped the share. I just want to check in with all of you. Hello, everyone who's here. Feel free to put a little Q&A if you're having any questions, if you're having any ahas, if you're having any openings. I would love to hear about it. Okay. Beautiful. And so now we're back. Okay. So as I said, what happens when we can accept, feel, and direct the truth? We're safe to have great sensuality, wealth, impact, and visibility. We're trusting of the connections that allow us to open and receive. We bring in those soul connection lovers, friends, colleagues, clients, families. We feel capable of handling our greatest destiny and can claim our value and have that lifestyle, that money, and that impact. And we know we're intrinsically worthy of all that is here for us: the great love, the life, the wealth, the true destiny. So, okay, so we're clear on that. We're clear on those 4 directions. We're on relationships. We're clear on why it's so important to be locked in about them. So where can we access and feel the truth so that we can have what we actually desire reflected in those 4 main relationships? because probably like any of us, right? It's a work in progress. So there's probably some things where you're like, yes, I'm feeling my truth. And then you're probably feeling some things in those relationships where it's like, no, my truth is not currently being reflected. My truth of what I want there is not currently being reflected. So how can we begin to access and feel that truth more consistently? Well, it's through physical sensation, through pleasure, or or pain, right? Through any sort of deep physical sensation. Oftentimes we talk over the physical sensation, right? So you may have noticed in the beginning, like I've never used Keynote during a webinar before. And so it was like, I suddenly was feeling a little like, I didn't know what I was doing, and I felt a little nervous, like I couldn't figure out if I did it right. And I could just feel, and I felt like the heat in my body, right? And instead of trying to talk over it or fluffle, over it, I just decided to take some breaths and feel it and just come back in. And it was like, really, it was excitement. It was excitement because I could feel all of you grounding me. I could feel all of you like really, supporting me to figure it out. And I could feel the desire of like how I would want to do it as we kept moving. And as you see, like it got a little smoother, right? As we did it. So we want to always know how to not talk over the physical sensation, because you're going to be able to feel the truth. Because the story on top was, oh my God, you're kind of like doing the technical stuff wrong again, and people are going to judge it. And why did you do why did you do blah, 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 right? And it was like when I just stopped talking and I felt the truth is like, this is fun. It's exciting. I can feel everybody's support. I'm going to figure it out, and we're going to keep it moving. And actually, what does spirit want me to share right here? And like, if I'm feeling this way, if I can feel this, what do I need to help? What am I here to ground in this moment? So we know that we can actually feel the truth if we stop talking over it. We let ourselves feel the sensation. Oftentimes the story is nervousness and the sensation is excitement, or the story is anger and resentment or betrayal or whatever. And the sensation is actually relief, because the truth was it was time to complete that relationship, right? For example, visual imagery. So sometimes if we just allow ourselves to just stop and tune in, and as you can see, I oftentimes guide us into like actually visualizing the energy of our truth. Downloads of knowing. So downloads are just sort of when you get that clear, like you know it quicker than you could actually even express it. You're suddenly like just knowing the truth, right? And it's just very simple, and it's kind, and it's clear, and you just know it's right. Hearing the inner voice. So that can be a similar experience sometimes for people of downloading, hearing the inner voice of truth, and doesn't mean you always have to take it, right? Sometimes we still go on that date, or we still go through that investment, or we still eat that whatever, like, you know what I mean? Like we sometimes hear the inner voice, and we just oftentimes had a lifetime of being indoctrinated into it being more convenient. We've turned down hearing the inner voice in our society because of family or cultural paradigms we were born into, sometimes because of, trauma that was actually part of our incarnation as an innovator, but we decide we can't trust our inner voice. But when we come back into our truth, you can usually begin to discern between that inner voice and between a criticism or a wish. And that takes some time really deciding you want to have a relationship with these four main directive ones in your life. And then the other way we can really feel our truth is by bringing it through the body with art, writing, movement, spoken sound or singing or speaking, and intimate connections. Oftentimes we can really feel our truth in a deeply intimate, vulnerable moment with someone else. So how is that connected to the Akasha? The Akasha connection here is that we receive information from the Akashic Records the same way we receive the truth from our body. So everything I just described of the physical sensations, the visual imagery, the downloads, the inner voice, bringing it through the body, like that being ways we can really have our truth reflected. That's how we actually receive information from the Akashic Records. So the Akashic Records absolutely, on a very deep level, will support you to begin getting in touch with actually what the truth is. And when you can get in touch with the truth, you can have these great relationships with, again, your sensuality, your prosperity, your power. And some of you may not know what the Akashic Records are, so I want to talk about that briefly. The Akashic Records are the vibrational records of everything that ever was, is, and will be. And I think of it as the book of life, and it's referred to in various ancient teachings and religious practices in that way. Everyone and everything has one because everyone and everything is made up of vibration. So it's a energetic library. And when we open up the record of a particular person or a group of people, I think of it as opening up their vibrational file in the universe's filing cabinet. Now, everything is in that file, right? And so this me, you, this class, this room, Los Angeles, a book I might write, a book you might write, like everything has this. So that which is most relevant in the moment for the best possible outcome will be waiting in that file to be translated to yourself or to your client if you're working with a client on this. There are also non-physical teachers and guardians available to help support our work within the records when we're really acting from integrity. So just like the energies of money and of sexuality and of food, these potent, nourishing energies, they work best with us when we're in our integrity, when we're really directing them in the way that is actually fulfilling and nourishing and in right relationship for ourselves and others, so that we're actually clear and conscious rather than disconnected and confused and drunk. And so when we actually work in that integrity, that's when we get access to the truth. So working with those earth energies in integrity is when we can actually feel the truth. And working with this energetic energy with integrity, like really asking, and we go deeper into that into the course, but like not asking from a neurotic, like afraid to know your own life, but asking from this deeply connected relationship to spirit, going underneath the story into the truth, you're going to get incredible information from the records and with the guides and guardians who are supporting that sort of truth and working with that integrity. And I associate them as the office managers of this vibrational library. So the Akasha teaches us how to feel and experience truth, express truth, and know truth. And it teaches us to trust our own word, our own connection to our planet, and our connection to spirit. So there's a way in which this is just like the most grounding thing you can do for yourself. Even though it's a spiritual, energetic, psychic modality, this is actually you create a new, deep working relationship with actually really being with your body. Okay, I'm going to talk about my story in a moment, but I actually want to look at any questions here. Okay. Okay. Beautiful. Okay, great. So I have a couple questions here. So we're going to actually bring this into an activation. So the two questions that are here are actually like, I'm not sure if I'm standing in my truth with, hold on one second. Sorry, everyone. Not sure if I'm standing in my truth, basically, about money or about relationship, because I'm feeling a lot of difficulty in those areas, or I'm feeling a lot of conflict in those areas. So this is a good time to bring up the fact, if you've worked with me before, then you probably know that there's three things that happen when you change frequency. And it can look like all is lost, or things are difficult, or things are harsh. And really, as I tune in for both of you, there's really more of a change in relationship resonance that's going on. So when we begin to change frequency, and this has been in a lot of the other videos, you might want to check it out, three things happen. There's a physical healing change, there's a emotional healing change, and then there's what I call a change in relationship resonance. So you may be having an experience right now, if you were drawn to this call, where you're actually not feeling really great around money, around relationship, around prosperity, around your power and your appetite in these areas. That is actually a sign of you now being in a new relationship, meaning these energies, including the Akasha, always just want to support you to work with your next level of what is right for you now. And so if there's a discomfort here, there is a clearing that's taking place, right? I always say, it's like you develop these relationships at one frequency, now you're at another. But there's also a way in which you have a new, I'm looking up and not at all of you because I'm actually like feeling into the energy. There's a new level of truth to be understood. So it's never coming from a place of punishment. It's always coming from these energies, including the Akasha, including money, and including all this. These energies always are just asking you to meet them at your next level of truth, of your next capacity of truth. So let's just take a moment here, and we're going to bring it into a larger activation. But I'm just going to feel into this for both people who ask that question. And I'm going to invite you, if you can resonate with that question of some frustration, of some worry, to just drop into your belly here. And it feels very simple. The thing I'm being asked to ask you is just, what's the truth? The truth is true and all is well, right? What's the truth? That this momentary stress, this momentary change in resonance, this momentary sensation, if we can go under the story and just go into the sensation and go into the lower belly in particular, what is actually the truth here? And the next question that's coming through, and again, there's the element of the change in resonance, but we're going underneath that even into what's actually the truth. And the question I get here, especially for the two people who asked, is what do you have to finally, and remember, these are all energies that will bring us to our knees. Our real desire will bring us to our knees because sometimes it's not very convenient. And so the thing that's coming through here, because again, money always wants us to meet it at the next level of integrity that's possible. So perhaps we wouldn't have been ready to acknowledge the truth or acknowledge our desire, but now we are. And so the dip in money is pointing to the fact that you are ready. In fact, that was another very big message that came through. Whatever you came here for on this call, you're ready for it. You're ready. Law of readiness. You know, I always work with the law of readiness, but in particular, there's a very strong, like, you're ready to know the truth. You're ready to know the truth about this area. So what are you having to finally surrender to wanting so that the money can be directed towards that desire? Take a couple breaths here, especially the two people who asked me that question. And as you allow yourself to surrender to what it is that you want, to know what it is that you want, to be with the truth, knowing that the truth is true and all is well, you're just going to take a couple breaths here and just allow yourself to receive the energy of that desire, what it would feel like in your body, in your system, with your breath. Take a few breaths here. Beautiful. And I'm just going to invite you to just hold this energy in your heart. We have about another 20 minutes together. Hold this energy in your heart and let it move through the rest of your time in this class. You don't have to declare it. You don't have to know how to get it. You just have to be willing to hold the thing that these emotions and this current financial snapshot is pointing you towards wanting. You're just being asked to hold your truth for the rest of this class and see what it feels like in your body. And regarding this question, the other question here is, if I have a blind spot, would I be able to get clarity with the help of accessing the Akashic Records on my own? So that's a great question. And I have a couple things to say on that, which is I believe healing happens in community and not in isolation. So we all love to have support, right? Like when there's a blind spot, I love it, right? Like I still get lots of support from other people because there's things that I'm designed to have a blind spot on, because otherwise I would just be reading a script in a human body. So there's part of it is that we're not meant to know everything in every moment. So sometimes if we have a blind spot, then there's really two things to say about it. One is you're being guided to heal in connection rather than isolation, meaning there's three things to tell you. So when it comes to blind spots, one is you're being guided to heal in connection rather than by yourself or trying to figure it out on your own. Two is you're just not ready to know it yet. It's not necessary for where you are yet. And when it's not a blind spot anymore, then it'll become part of the truth of something you have to acknowledge and admit and surrender to. And the third is sometimes it's not actually a blind spot. And the Akashic Records are great for that. So the Akashic Records is definitely a modality and a way of connecting with energy where they are going to point out if it's not actually a blind spot. So there's really three ways, and I guess you would have to decide like what you're feeling here, but that's what I would say about that. And in terms of your particular question about it being a blind spot, it doesn't feel like a blind spot. It feels like an inconvenient truth, to be honest, like in a desire that you're going to have to get bigger than your fears about the desire to let yourself really admit and surrender to. The thing that is coming up is security, yet isn't security a way of keeping us asleep and resistant to change? So there's a fine line between security and stagnancy, and we actually all need clear security. That's why that relationship to ourself is so important, because if we don't feel safe, it's very hard to do anything else, right? And so security and a real sense of inner safety and trust doesn't mean everything needs to look perfect all the time, right? Like security doesn't mean that. And I think the way it's coming into your system is not, let's say, stagnant and everything needs to look the same way and stagnant. Security really is about feeling so grounded in your own inner power and so trusting of your appetite of what is coming next and what you're ready to receive, that you're able to really get creative and resourceful and vibrant and powerful. If we don't feel secure, we can't actually be authentically any of those things. All right. Oh, you're so welcome, Catherine. I'm glad that helped. If anyone else has any questions, you're welcome to put them in. Okay, so we're going to go back to this. Okay, we were there. Okay, so my story with the Akashic Records. So I'll keep this kind of brief, but most of you, I think, know me. I didn't even introduce myself yet, but I think if you got here, you probably know me. So I'm Allie Raina Hoffman. I'm an Akashic Records teacher, and I'm a soul channel, and I'm here to uncover truth, and that's always been my passion. And I grew up in a family with a lot of initiations as a soul innovator in terms of healing. So oftentimes when you're here to be an innovator, you'll grow up in a family with some pretty wild experiences. And in my family, there was a lot of severe illness and a lot of like stress and struggle in terms of women feeling left early and like having to figure out business and things on their own. And so, I was born into that. I went to school for journalism and really was always like very hungry for the truth, and then always had this deep connection to healing, especially because of the illnesses that had happened in my family. And so while I was in school as a college student for journalism, I also went to counseling school and started working with energy and coaching clients at the same time. So I started my healing practice 12 years ago when I was 22, and always felt very deeply for people, always was very enmeshed in like very exhausting sort of relationships and connections, and like sort of had a hard time really feeling where I began and someone else ended. And I'd been a caretaker for so many years as well. And so I have a real love and reverence for the Akashic Records because they really gave me the boundaries I needed. Because about, I would say, 6 or 7, like halfway through my career, I was getting to really do the energy work I loved doing with people and channeling, and I became this sort of like open radio. And then I was starting to have the experience of entities and attachments. And really, I'd felt that way my whole life. So the reason I so deeply loved the Akashic Records once I connected with them was because it created a really clear form of boundary. I knew I was creating deep ritual, and I could open the records and I could close the records, and I could work with guides and guardians that could help direct what was happening, and I could access any sort of healing that anyone would need. Right? Like everything was there because everything is in the records. So it gave me a way to really streamline how much energy was coming at me all the time, and also have more clarity and boundaries. So in terms of healing and energy, I loved it for that. I also loved it. It became an access point for me to make big decisions, create businesses. Every program I've ever created in the last 7 years, and I've been pretty prolific in that area. If you know me, like everything has been downloaded from the Akashic Records. Every day I tune in with the records. Every relationship I can connect to my body and to working with the records. And then it created all of these beautiful programs and ways I could work with clients and really support them to create 6-figure businesses, to meet the loves of their lives, to move across the country, to like know what to do. Like it became something that I could really share. That was a very clear, strong modality that would really support people. So that is like my Akashic story. The other piece to it, and it's really about the truth, is that when you start working with the Akashic Records and channeling that energy, anything that's not true is going to come up to be cleared and released. So my experience also of working with the records and working with the body and with sensuality and with money was that there was a lot of trauma in my system. And there was nothing that held the space for that trauma and allowed it to be cleared and released the way attuning to the Akashic Records and working with the records has done. And it's really what also inspired me to teach it, because when I had the experience of it, it was the most powerful trauma release I ever had, was when I was attuned to the Akashic Records. And it really inspired me to create a deeper mentorship experience for people, because often people have a more subtle experience because they don't really stay with developing their relationship to the records. So I loved my experience of it's just transformed my whole business, my whole life, my whole financial experience. And then I loved what it could do for people in terms of trauma clearing and release. And I knew that there needed to be more of a grounded experience of working with the records. And what I also have found is the records really brought me here to California. And if you've been watching the other videos, to really starting to understand moving from wanting something to manifesting something to actually letting myself and my clients and I working together to actually really embody it and experience it and have it. And all of those teachings and understandings of really now actually embodying really came from the records. So there's this whole new relationship we're having together, where it started as a supportive boundary, and then it became a way for me to channel all my creativity and my muse energy. And then it became a way to really support my clients to find their deeper destiny and their deeper teachings and offerings. And now it's really become something that's created a deep partnership with embodiment and sensuality and knowing how to have it. And which is why I teach it today. And the reason is also, that I think it's such a great tool for myself and for you, because we're soul innovators, is it works with your natural abilities to be able to intuitively understand people. It amplifies your communication skills. It creates a career opportunity already suited to your skill set. It gives you added support and insight during tough decisions, creates clarity around patterns you're here to innovate, and it creates energetic boundaries and protection. who and what has a record. So in case you weren't clear on that yet, people have it, groups of people, animals, physical locations, buildings, properties, structures, relationships, events, and experiences, creative works, and actually months, dates, and years. I think that's one of the most fun ways to work with the records, is really getting a grounding and clarity and understanding of the theme and the forecast of your month and how you're here to work with the energy. So as you can see, it creates a consciousness and a tangible spirit for things that are non-physical, right? Like the energy of a relationship or an event or a creative work. It creates this like essence that you can then ground. And then for physical things, it creates the spirit, like it creates the consciousness, whether it's a physical thing or the essence, whether it's a non-physical thing that you can now ground. And so I love it as well for creative works, as I already talked about. And I love being very specific this way. So truly everything of vibration has a record. How you open the records, there's a special prayer, and each Akashic teacher has their own prayer given to them through their own Akashic records when they're ready to teach. And you would then teach and attune others with your personal prayer, which is really discussed in the Akashic course. And in the course, we experience a live activation and attunement, which is unique to each group of students. And you also receive the prayer I was given in my Akashic record. So the experience of the attunement is going to be very unique and personal to you. And sometimes it feels more subtle, like a gentle meditation, or it may feel more intense, like was my experience. Whatever you experience is right. It's always what you're ready for. And the prayer enables you to open and close the records, and which is something I really love about the records, is it teaches you how to use your voice in a very powerful, declaring way. We're often not used to calling in spiritual power and connection with such confidence, but you get comfortable with it over time, which opens up your communication, your dialogue, and your ability to declare and call many things into your life. So this actually, I want to just stop the share for a moment. Just take a breath here. So that's what the records are. That's how they're connected to our embodiment. That's how they're supporting your mission. Yes. And before we move on to talk about the course, Christine asked, if you're having enormous money issues and relationship issues and have no idea why these things are happening, could the records help us in identifying what our life purpose is and any guidance as to why certain things have happened? Absolutely. So the point of the records, or their purpose, as far as I've experienced them for myself and thousands of clients, is that they go under the story into the deeper understanding. It's sort of like what we were talking about with the relationship to yourself, your community, your mission, and your spirit, and being able to actually be in your body and be in your truth and go under the story of what's happening on top. So that would be what the Akashic Records would support you to do. And it's been invaluable for me and for my clients when we're moving through all the twists and turns that are the human incarnation and experience, as we keep, releasing blind spots and having to see the truth and then surrender to the desire that is the truth over and over again. That's the experience. And so they're in that, we've got those change of relationship resonance things that happen that can feel like money issues, relationship issues, these different things that are happening, right? And so that is what the records are for, is to go underneath the story into the deeper energy of what's happening, sort of the way we want to learn with the relationship to our sensuality and to our prosperity, to go underneath the current story into the truth, into the true pleasure, into the true desire, into the true wealth, into the true resources that are available, not what's happening in the moment. We want to go deeper underneath the story, which is, as I said, I was a journalist. I've always had a very deep connection to going deeper into what's really happening, into the deeper energy of what's there. And that's absolutely a way to use the Akashic Records. So I love that you brought that up. And thank you for sharing that. Okay. Beautiful. All right. So we're going to come back to sharing the screen. Okay, so that brings us, we've been on a journey together, right? And that brings us to the Akashic Records Activation Course Summer Session, Bringing the Heat. So we're working with the Akashic Records. We're working with getting embodied and really understanding our desire and our power and our prosperity and what actually will bring us pleasure, and really honoring and owning our appetite, because we're no longer martyrs. And I've taken the last year and a half to really understand, working in partnership with the records, how to move from desire to manifesting it, but creating a lot of chaos and static in between that, to actually knowing how to embody and have these very powerful energies. And so I'm bringing together, fusing all of the information I've already been teaching with the Akashic Records, all of the attunements and activations that have been here for you, all of the entrepreneurial and leadership and strategic work that the Akashic Records have supported. Now we're bringing in all of this work that really has been the bulk of my adventure for the last year and a half here in Los Angeles, working with really understanding how to support myself and my clients to direct the energies of power and money and sex and prosperity and our appetites. So we've brought it all together, and it's been marinating for over a year. And I am so pleased to bring you a combination of the mentorships I've done, the Akashic teachings I've done, and the desire and sensuality mentorships that I'm currently doing with this summer session. So we're working with summer and the energetic groove. So what is an energetic groove? So basically, there's times on our planet that are like, have a very well-worn, well-done energetic groove that we can really ride with. So a lot of you have done my Soul Innovator 30-day next level adventure the last few years. We've created a really powerful groove from August 15th to September 15th, where now every time we go into that energy together, we all have massive breakthroughs because we initiated into that energy together, and it's just become a very potent time for those of us who are connected to that adventure. Think of any time in our life, right? Like we have all these different rituals and seasons and things we know of, like today is Earth Day, think of Christmas Day, New Year's Day, the equinoxes. There are powerful movements that are happening with the earth energies and with our planet. Then we're also all bringing our own energy of the traditions and the rituals and the mindsets and the behaviors and the patterns that really have been cultivated and gathered and held by these times of year. So the Akasha has been working with me really deeply around, hey, this whole year and a half has been around you really learning how to embody and support your clients with embodying warmth, sunshine, sexuality, pleasure, money, prosperity, and like really having these things and letting this move quickly. So the guidance was to bring back all of these teachings for the summer, because we want to work with the energetic groove of the summer, of power, of passion, of desire, right? Like these are hot, summery energies. Initiation, oftentimes maybe in summer camp, whatever it is, but oftentimes there's major initiation energies as we come into the summer. People often have their first experience of many different things. Freedom, right? That's still in our epigenetics from just summer vacations, right? That freedom, that openness, that the sun is longer in the day, there's more time, there's more expansiveness, rapid transformation and growth. That's even the time of year where we often get taller or our hair grows, right? Like it's all connected to this energetic groove of summer, the heat, the sensuality, and the burning off and the release of relationships and stories and behaviors that don't really serve us. When we're in the energetic groove that allows this initiation, this freedom, this rapid transformation, this deeper connection to our body and to our sensuality, we can release that which no longer serves. Right? Beautiful. So that's why we want to work with this season. These are some of the details on it. So the Akashic Records Activation Course Summer Session is going to run from May 15th to August 15th. And our live retreat will be Thursday, June 21st, which is the solstice, to Sunday, June 24th. So I took a lot of the structure and the teachings and the content I've done in my very high end, mentorships, where we do a lot of strategic business building and relationship opening and beautiful rituals and ceremonies and time connecting. And I brought it into this Akashic course because what I found is the people who have had the deepest results and the most powerful relationships with the Akashic records had more time with me, and they had some time in person to really connect and get that sort of magic that always happens in person. So I'm so pleased to be bringing it here. And it's really time to develop a deeply healing and prosperous relationship with all of these elemental beings, with the natural internal and external season that happens in summer, and with the consciousness of the Akashic records that are so ready to work with you at this time. So we'll just take a couple breaths here. And just feeling into your body, feeling into your desire, feeling what might be here for you or any questions you might have. And just checking in on any questions. Okay. And I'm getting a question about if there's a payment planned. And so there is a payment plan. So we'll talk more about that. And so our next pieces here are going to be looking at the rest of this program, and then we will go into an energetic activation so you can really lock in with your own truth and if this is the next step for you. So we'll get more into that question, Joe, afterwards. Okay. So this Akashic Summer of Love course that I'm super excited about, that's bringing in all of the teachings from the Akashic Records course, all of these teachings around desire and sexuality and prosperity and wealth, and the sort of retreats and mentorship and private work that usually came in my high-end mentorship. We're bringing this all together. So this Summer of Love program is for you if you want to partner with the records on a specific outcome and manifestation. You're ready for a deep working relationship with spirit and your own inner genius. You're looking for a big opening. I'm really hearing that from a lot of you on this call right now. We've got a lot of people on this call, and a lot of the requests are for big openings in your intuition, your creativity, your production, and your reception and your ability to actually receive. If you're ready to burn off the past trauma, the past practices that no longer serve you, and get a mega boost of momentum and freedom, again, we're going to work with that summer energy, and we're going to work with the energy of the Akasha that holds us so beautifully when we need to clear out the trauma that is no longer part of our truth. If you desire to feel held and supported when making big decisions, if you want to open your own feminine fire, passion, and heat, if you want to work with the Akasha around your relationships, and if you want to work with me around love, sex, and relationship, and if you want to feel trust and backed by your own desire and your own ability to deeply connect with others and with life, you want more fun, you want more play, you want more space in your life, and you're ready for things to happen fast, like that summer energy of fast, we can work with these hot, quick-moving energies of summer and really support that growth. So if this is resonating, this is who it's for. So in this course, you're going to receive an Akashic Records activation that as a standalone would set you up with the Akashic prayer and the ability to work with the records, but when done as a complete package, are going to stack and build with each other, creating deep healing, massive upgrades, and an increase to your potency, power, and Akashic connection. You're going to receive a channeled Akashic activation playbook in PDF and printed form that's going to include all my deepest teachings and guidance and recipes for working with and through the Akashic Records, self-care, healing, money manifestation, business training principles, how to build a practice both in person and virtually. I have created a multiple six-figure business doing both. And so we're going to talk about that and what it actually is to actually have that and receive that and literally know how to embody that level of energy, and how to thrive as a light worker in all ways. There's also going to be a recorded training module of all the pieces that the Akashic Records written content that you can look at your own pace, so we can really spend our live time together, really sinking into specific questions and requests. A live retreat in a beautiful location for a long weekend. So this summer one, I'll be doing these seasonally, but this summer one is here in Venice Beach, arriving Thursday through Sunday, through Sunday. Exciting and relevant guest teachers. You're going to have time in nature, Akashic activations and rituals, live soul board meeting circles, time in sisterhood, nourishing meals and activities, and intensive coaching and support on your personal practice and goals. So a big difference with this course is that this isn't just learning about the records and kind of learning about pleasure and power and like kind of creating this on your own. Like you and I are going to get very specific and deep. Everyone in this course is getting quite a bit of private time with me. And so you'll be getting very specific and deep about how you actually want to partner with the records, partner with your sexuality, partner with money and prosperity and your own power. And like, let's really land this. This is no longer just a concept. Like actually connecting with this energy is about grounding it and landing it into your body. Customized rituals, teachings, and focuses specific to this program season. This one is summer. Group study and activation to build a kinship of trusted friends, partners, and allies so that we can build and grow together energetically, financially, and in your desired relationship experiences. This has been one of the life-changing things for me. I was, some of you know my story that, I was in this work for a long time, but, practicing and having amazing results with clients for a long time. But it really took me also a long time to actually get to embody this level of prosperity and power. Like I got to have the satisfaction of expressing the work and seeing people have a big outcome, but I didn't actually get to be well cared for from my work and actually embody the experience of this for many years into my career. And so one of the things that was very life-changing for me was investing in experiences where I was in groups of people who really had this consciousness and really became my best friends and my allies and my network. So that is why I will always create a group component in anything I do. And that is what we will have here. So this will include 2 group Zoom sessions a month so that you get that group component. Of course, it'll be the group retreat. And then everyone's also going to get 2 private sessions with me a month for the 4 months. So in these private mentoring sessions, you get deep healing, laser strategic coaching for your personal goals, be it a business, a project, a relationship, creative work. We're going to get really clear on what you're here to do. And we're going to take your personal practice and your Akashic work to the next level and bring your dream outcome that's already in the records right here to your earthly embodiment. And I'm going to bring in all that having it work. So like, not only will we manifest it, you're going to actually have it. It's not just that we're going to manifest a relationship or more money or a new business. I'm going to really hold the space for you to really receive it. You're not just going to get an Akashic activation and think that you sort of have a relationship with spirit. We're going to really ground that in your body. So that is a deep working relationship that you can access anytime. So just take a couple breaths here, breathing in the energy of this program and just feel what it feels like in your body. Beautiful. Letting the shoulders relax, letting the belly relax, letting the heart open. How it feels in my system right now is just very and for the collective, is just very open and fluid. A lot of movement, a lot of water energy. The water is going to balance out all the heat and the fire that we're going to be moving with. That's why we're definitely going to be by the ocean. But I want you to just take a couple breaths here and just let yourself actually feel the movement, the fluidity, the flow. Everywhere that's been tight and contracted has the opportunity to open up here. So in this moment, just let yourself receive. You're already in the field of the program in this moment. So just letting yourself receive the frequency of that. A few more breaths. Beautiful. And if you have any questions, bringing them into the chat. And so this is the investment here. So this is a seasonal program. This is how I was guided to do it, sort of like the mentorship from the past. So each season is the 4 months, a month off. We're kind of doing little breaks in between. So the first seasonal program is the summer of love, bringing the heat with this Akashic summer session. That is $7,500 with a payment plan available. 2 seasonal programs is $14,444, or you could do all 3 programs for $21,111. And so this is actually a significant discount from the private mentorships I've done of that same amount. And I've just decided to kind of bring everything together and really ground it in the foundation of the Akashic Records. So that is the investment. And, feel into that. Breathe in the energy of that money for a minute. This is also one of the things that has completely changed my life, the life of my clients who've invested with me in this way. I don't ask anyone to invest in a way I haven't 10 times as much. I'll tell you that. And I'll tell you that was really what changed my life, was having to get bigger than my current story to allow myself to say yes and sink in and really receive support and really begin to partner with money in the way that you begin to partner with money when you create these sort of investments in your life. So I know that it's going to bring up all different things for different people, and I'm here to talk to you about it. So I want to really talk to you actually about your next steps. So first is making sure you subscribed to the email list. I'm going to be sending out all the information we talked about today, this recording, as well as everything that's written here. And I would really recommend you also look at the videos that I sent out, because they're all part of a initiation process that really are going to support your ability to receive and open to the energies of power and money and sex and prosperity. You're going to fill out an application and time to speak with me. Because this is, as I said, going to bring up all different things. And so what I want to do with you is really have the opportunity for us to drop into what your truth is. So your truth with the capital T may be that this isn't the timing or, the format for you, or your truth may be like, this is absolutely the thing for you. And it's been the thing for many of my clients who have done this sort of mentorship with me. And it's been the thing for me to be in these sort of formats, which is why I offer them, because it's what absolutely changed my life in every way, emotionally, financially, physically, spiritually, sexually, was diving deep and dropping into containers that could actually hold me and support this level of transformation. And so it's what I am honored to offer to you now as well. So that would be your next steps in terms of like, if this is really calling to you. So I would love to hear any questions you have, but if there's no more questions at this time, then we're just going to drop into our final activation together. And then I'm going to send you on your way. And I thank you so much for joining me today and for supporting me as I kind of brought in a new type of technology to this class, and allowed me to share and express like where we're at all together right now with the Akashic Records, and with this sort of time on the planet where we're all here to be really in our pleasure, in our prosperity, and in our power. So just take a couple breaths here, breathing in again, some space and possibility, exhaling out, and we'll go ahead and open the Akashic Records here officially of our group. Calling in all the guides, guardians, and teachers that work with each one of you. And as we take a breath here, we're just opening the records with each breath that we take. Beginning to feel our heart open, beginning to feel our lungs open, beginning to relax and drop. What is the thing you need to drop? Calling in the guides, the guardians, and the teachers of the Akasha to be here now. Letting yourself feel any sensation that's here. And in this moment, calling back your power, the image and the energy I'm seeing here is like there's the you, and then there's some you with a bit more power. Like there's aspects of your power that are kind of walking around in old stories, in old situations, in old opportunities, and old regrets. So with the next few breaths, just call back in the power you really want in your life right here and right now. 3, big breath in, bringing that into the heart, into the belly. 2, bringing it into the lower spine, into the root, down through the sides of the legs. And as you bring in that power, you just release. You release the resentment. You release the regret. You release the story. And one more breath in, letting it land. And I'm just calling upon the soul lineage of every amazing person who is on this call right now live, and everyone who is going to be joining us in the recording, calling upon their soul lineage of being in their fullest expression of sensuality, of power, of prosperity, of having the hottest 2018 they could possibly have. We call upon the soul lineage of that part of them. We call back in all the power that wants to be received in this moment, back into their life, back into their experience, back into the story. Calling that power in. Take a few more breaths here and just call back all the power that's been hanging out elsewhere. Regulate it here, like bring it back in. Receive yourself now. Receive your life. Receive your resources right here and right now. Take 3 more breaths that way. Remember who you are in this 3rd breath. Remember who you are, calling back all of the energy you may have forgotten that has been left elsewhere. Remember who you are. Big breath in. Letting it land. Beautiful. And just be here for a moment. Remembering who you are before of these stories of struggle or ups or downs or being unsure. Remember underneath that. Remembering now that you asked for that because this was meant to be a ride. Remember now that you okayed that because you knew you were stronger. Remember that you were available for that because you're so much bigger than this momentary circumstance. Remember how you're actually here to work with these energies. Take a few breaths here. As you remember feeling stronger, feeling more vital. Remembering who you are. Beautiful. And now we're opening the Akashic vibrational universal record of this call, of partnering with the Akasha and the elemental energies of this program, of this summer session, of bringing the heat, of this day of April 22nd, of everyone here in their fullest capacity of power and pleasure, sensuality and prosperity, and of all the elementals of the sun, of the rain, of the wind, of the earth. Bringing that all in now. May we work together with love and with integrity, with the greatest possible outcome and the highest possible good for everyone who is here in this call, in this video, in this experience today, and all of those who are connected to the stories of our soul. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yes, yes, yes. And the records are open here. Beginning to feel that connection between you and the records, beginning to feel that connection between you and I, just beginning to feel that connection between you and something you've seen as outside of yourself. This program, this prosperity, this relationship, this desire, realizing now it's all one. We're coming into that spirit energy of worthiness, beginning to feel the connections. Everything is connected. Everything is linked up. Everything is lining up. The synchronicities are building. The fire is building. The heat is here. The flow is moving through. Just beginning to allow yourself to really feel everything, 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 everything is connected. Everything is connected. There is no dead end. There is no mystery. There is no block. Everything has a way through. Allow yourself to now reconnect, connect to those things. that you feel unsure of. Connect to those things that you feel afraid of. You're in disconnection with them. Lean in, lean in, lean in. Let yourself take some breaths here. Go all the way in. Bring intimacy, bring intimacy, bring intimacy into this area you're not sure of. Go all the way in and now receive. Now that you've connected, feel yourself making the connection with your sensuality, with your power, with your prosperity, with this program, if it's the right program with you, with these connections, these friendships, these possibilities, this trip, if it's the right one for you, with anything that this summer would give you freedom, whether it's this or something else. Just feel yourself connecting with the energies and the elementals of summer, of passion, of fire, of heat, of prosperity. Just feel all of it. Just lean in and just receive the connection you have. You do have a connection to great wealth. You do have a connection to great power. You do have a connection to sexuality. You do have a connection to impact. You do have a connection to love. You do have a connection to purpose. You do have a connection to money. You do have a connection to joy and freedom and fun. There is a connection there. You are connected to that. Now you just want to lean in and create more intimacy. Now you just want to lean in and create more havingness. Now you just want to lean in and create more of an embodiment of that. Just lean in and really just admit, finally surrender to the truth that you are connected to this. You are connected to this. Take some breaths here. Bring that all the way down to the earth, making that your new reality, making this the way you walk on earth. Take some breaths here. Lean in. You are connected. You are connected. You have to be willing to lean in further than the surface story. You have to be willing to lean in underneath into the truth. You have to be willing to lean into what the truth is. And the truth is you are all. You can have all. You are ready for all of it. All of the journey, the adventure, the struggle, the trauma, the grief, the happiness, the joy, the sensuality, all of it. You're ready for all of it. You can have all of it. You're big enough for all of it. You're ready to really be in your power now. Beautiful. Letting that drop into the base of the spine, down into the earth, making a sacred vow of renewal in this moment with me that you will lean in, that you will remember your connection, that you will remember your deepest, most prosperous connection with yourself. You are safe to be yourself. You are safe to have yourself. Have yourself, have your relationship to your own power and pleasure and inner safety. No matter what the surface story looks like in any moment, you get to create a new one. You get to have a new one. You get to be a new one. You get to be connected to you. Breathe in that connection right here. Having your most prosperous, hottest, best connection to yourself, bringing it all the way in and down, grounding that. And now breathing in the relationship to yourself, to your community. You can trust your community. You have community. You can be community. You are community. You create community. It's here for you. Receive and have your relationship, your hottest, most prosperous relationship to community right now. Breathe it in. Beautiful. Bringing that into the heart. Just feeling that all around you. And now calling in your relationship to mission, to your most impactful mission, to your most fun mission, to your most prosperous mission, to your soul innovator mission, where we're no longer martyrs. We are celebrating. We are innovators. We live in a prosperous, good time to be us. Breathing that in here, letting yourself have it, letting yourself be it, letting yourself work with it. Bringing that into the belly, very strong, powerful belly, into the heart and out. Beautiful. And now all above you, all around you, all within you is your relationship to spirit, to the Akashic realm, to your new relationship. You have a changed relationship with the Akashic Records from now on, starting right today. From now on, no matter what else happens, they are your friends. They are your guardians. They are your guides. You have always had this available. Agree to experience it now. Be in agreement to experience it right here and right now. Take a big breath in. Bringing that into the back of the heart. You have never been alone. You have never been alone. You are never alone. You are an angel here on earth. Really feel those wings spreading. And now here, just calling in your biggest intention, your biggest desire. Call in this program. If this feels right for you, let's create the opportunity for you to be here. Breathing that in here, big breath in. And now allowing your wings, those beautiful earth angel wings, to just encapsulate the whole thing. Protecting and loving your own desire, protecting and loving your own connection, leaning in, holding a sacred space for what you want, maintaining a sacred time and space, maintaining a sacred mental space, maintaining a sacred emotional and sexual and financial space. Maintain that sacred space for what you're really here to desire. Hold it right here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And now just drop into gratitude, dropping into gratitude. Dropping into the blessing. You are the blessing. You could just even be grateful for you in this moment. Dropping in. And we know, dropping in, beautiful. Relax into the fact that you can be grateful. Just relax into this feeling of gratitude. And we know the work will continue beyond this time. Anything that's been cleared here is permanently released and cleared. It's done, and so it is. We know that everything we've activated and brought in and understood is permanently with us and in the field. And we just have gratitude for each other, for everyone who is a blessing, which is everyone, for this technology that supported me, for each one of you for staying on and being here and receiving and giving. And gratitude for the Akasha, for these guides and guardians that oversee it all, that support it all. We know the work will continue beyond this time. We're always connected by heart. And for now, we'll breathe back into existence, the door between worlds. The records are closed. This time is complete. And so it is. Beautiful. Thank you all for being here with me. Thank you all for saying yes to your desire. Thank you all for being an awakened person who says yes to really directing and understanding and loving your appetite and your prosperity and your pleasure here on earth. It allows you to be a really vital, high impact, high value person who's going to create really big and beautiful things in this world. And I'm grateful for you, and I'm grateful for that. I would love to have you be part of this course. I will be sending out the information, and I encourage you to just make it happen in terms of set up some time with me. Let's talk about it. And if you have any other questions, let me know, but you'll be hearing from me. Sending a lot of love and blessings to all of you. This was a pleasure as always, and have a beautiful rest of your day. Thank you all so much. Thank you. Thanks, Suzanne.